All right, everyone, thanks for checking in. Today we're out here at beautiful OCA MX track, and I have been riding in the new Atojo SR boot from Sidi. This is a brand new boot for 2020. If you haven't heard about it yet or learned too much about it, I'll give you a little background history. So the name Atojo actually comes from the riders that helped develop it. So you got some big names over in the MXGP races. You got Antonio Cairoli, Jorge Prado, and those were two of the main riders that helped develop and design this boot or helped test it. And the initials Atojo, that's where you get that name from. So with this boot, the big things that Sidi was after is they wanted to slim it down a little bit, have a lower profile on the inside to give you better contact with the bike. The toe box is a little bit wider than the Crossfire 3 SRS, and they also lighten it up quite a bit. In fact, this boot, and a size 8.5 that I am wearing, is 8 ounces lighter per boot, and that's actually a lot of weight. It's noticeable when you wear these, they do feel lighter than the Crossfire 3 SRS, so you're getting a full pound lighter in this size. So those are kind of like the three main aspects that they're chasing with the new Atojo SR. It's, you know, just like the Crossfire 3 SRS, you still have the replaceable sole that you can do right from your own home, which is nice. But looking at it, you know, some of the main differences you'll notice is they just simplified it. You don't have as many replaceable parts on here. So the shin plate is just a one-piece design. You've got 3 buckles instead of 4. And, you know, some of those replaceable parts that you'd have on the lower end aren't there anymore. And that's really how they help lighten this boot up a little bit. So I've been riding today for the first time, and we'll just talk about fit, we'll talk about support, and then talk about, you know, peg feel and how these felt while I was riding. So this is important. With the new Atojo, the fit on these, like I said, is a little bit wider than the Crossfire 3. The Crossfire 3, I've ridden in that boot as well, and to me, that was just too narrow. I don't have a really wide foot, but I don't have a narrow foot. And with that boot, I'd wear it, but I'd have to take it off throughout the day, and by the end of the day, my feet were pretty dang sore, and just wasn't a big fan of that. With the new Atojo, they've widened it up a little bit, so I like the fit of this more as far as the width and the toe box goes. The length is gonna be the same as the other Sidi boots, so if you've already worn Sidis before, that's not gonna change. And overall, I did notice though, when I put these on, there's still a narrow boot. So for riders that are wanting, you know, that have skinny feet and you're looking for a narrow boot, this is honestly one of the best options out there. And I still had a couple hot spots when I first put these on, but I'm glad to say that by the end of today, put a lot of, you know, probably 2-3 hours of actual seat time in them, is they actually did start to break in a little bit, and those hot spots that I had initially, those did start to go away, so I was happy with that. So that's the fit with these. Now, as far as support goes with these, that's one aspect about Sidis that I actually really like is when you put these on, your ankle is just sucked in there and it stays in place really well. I don't feel like my heel is lifting up, so you know, essentially zero heel float, and everything feels nice and secure. So I like the support feeling that you get. And what's cool about this new design is you've actually got, you know, hinge on the medial and lateral side, but you got a couple different hyperextension stops and for hyperflexion. Something new with the Atojo is you actually have this insert right here between the 2 lower buckles. This is meant to help support when you're flexing, you're bending forward, but also it'll help stop the boot a little bit if you do have hyperextension. And then on the back, you've got a hyperextension stop on here as well. So overall, I like the support. They did a good job with that. And this insert is actually removable. So if you do want to get rid of that, you can. So as a rider, ride with it in, take it out if you want to experiment with that and find out what works best for you. Flexibility out of the box. I think Sidis have some of the most flex of a lot of boots that are out there. It's not going to be as flexible as I think a Fox Instinct, but honestly, I would put this second in line of all the premium boots that are out there. Doesn't have a lot of break-in period. So for today, you know, first time riding in it, it really didn't take that long before I felt like I had enough flex to where I was getting my shifts, I was getting my braking good, and I didn't feel like I was struggling with how stiff the boot was or how stiff some boots can be right out of the box. So good flexibility right off the bat. The Crossfire 3 SRS is similar as far as the braking period goes. So if you are comparing the two, they're very similar in that aspect. So little braking time, 3 buckles, same buckle design as you're getting with the Crossfire 3. One main difference I do want to point out though, is that with the shin plate, it's not expandable. With the Crossfire 3, you can actually adjust the shin plate to make it a little bit bigger. You're not getting that with the Atojo, so that is something that I noticed. You know, I have a 16-inch calf, I'm wearing knee braces, so to me, I wish I did have the option to make the shin plate, you know, overlap a little bit more, but it's still a plenty big opening, but just something to be mindful of. Now, as far as peg feel goes, I'm a stickler. I am super picky when it comes to peg feel. I want to feel really planted to the bike. I like a lot of feedback. I like to really feel where my feet are. I want to make, you know, shifting as easy as possible, braking as well. And with the Sidis, it's good. I think the peg feel is good on these, especially for how stiff the sole is. Is it as good as a Fox Instinct or a Tech 10 from Alpine Stars? I don't think so, but it's not bad. I still felt like I had a planted feel. I knew where my feet were, so that really was not an issue for me whatsoever riding today. Now, to finish up, a couple things I do want to point out. Like I mentioned earlier, they wanted to slim down the profile, so they wanted to be able to give you more contact with the bike. And that is one thing that I noticed. You know, with the Crossfire 3, you have a replaceable insert right here on the inside of the ankle that can kind of separate you from the bike a little bit, so they did away with that. So just be mindful though that, like I said earlier, there's not as many replaceable parts. So if you're really hard on boots and you like Sidis and you feel like, you know, you want to be able to replace as much as possible, then maybe the Crossfire 3 is the better option for you. But I like how low profile this is. They have this grippy rubber material up here on the top as well as down here on the bottom, this ankle piece, which for me, you know, bike grip was a non-issue today. Really good contact there. But overall, I'm happy with it. I like the Atojo more than the Crossfire 3 just because it does feel lighter. You know, those 8 ounces per boot does make a good, you know, pretty noticeable difference. The fit, just a little bit wider toe box, that suits me a little bit better. And for me personally, I just like the more simplified option. You know, other riders might like the Crossfire 3 because it has those replaceable parts and that boot's not going anywhere. But another thing to really consider is that the Atojo is cheaper than the Crossfire 3. You still get the replaceable sole. So props to Sidi. I think they did a good job with this boot. Again, other than being pretty narrow, I really don't have many complaints. I think they did well in all aspects, what I'm looking for in a boot. So if you're watching this ride review, trying to decide if you want to go with the new Atojo or comparing this to Crossfire 3, you know, hopefully that's some good information to help you out. But if you want more feedback, I'm more than happy to give that to you. If there's anything I didn't answer, you know, leave your questions, your comments below, and we'll help you out. And to grab a new set of these and see all the colorways, you can click on the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com. Orders over $75 ship free. And remember, we have our fit guarantee, which means if you buy these and you feel like they are too narrow for you, well, you can send them back in brand new unused condition. We'll give you free shipping both ways on your first exchange. You can exchange it for a different boot. That way you get the size and the fit that you are looking for. I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain. We'll see you on the trails.